One of the other things that I heard yesterday, I believe it was, for the first time that is interesting to me, and we talked about it a bunch up here because we have a situation where the trade season is kind of upon us, and we love mock trades. I'm a big fan of trade ideas, and hopefully we get a jam-packed deadline. Though I have to simmer down my expectations because the Luka Doncic situation kind of make us feel like we're spoiled, and we're definitely not going to get that same impact of trades. But a report came out from Grant of Seth. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right, Grant. And he said, in terms of roster movement, Garland is viewed, Darius Garland, as an attractive trade candidate around the NBA with fewer risks than some of the other high-profile guards that teams are monitoring, like Ja Morant, LaMelo Ball, and Trae Young. Additionally, the intel from some NBA teams is a perception that Garland would like to run his own team again at some point, as opposed to being in a more complementary role next to Mitchell. Now, I love this because there's been a bunch of talk about what Cleveland is going to do, right? This is a team that started off 15-0 last year. They're hovering around 500 as we speak today. Definitely not the same type of Cavs team that we got last year. They've been trying to get over that hump, and this feels like the last hoorah before they have to make some hard decisions as a front office and figure out what they're going to do to kind of pivot and kind of readjust and reshuffle the deck in order to put together a team that can make that jump that they're trying to have. Darius Garland has been one of those names that has been mentioned as somebody who would be an odd man out in the situation, because you would think that the Cavaliers would continue to push with Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley as a staples, which then puts Jared Allen and Darius Garland as the two guys that you would kind of dangle out there in trade situations to try to, again, reshuffle this team. The funny thing about this, though it does excite me, because I think the more names, the more all-star caliber names that we get, the more the deadline can spice up and heat up. And as an NBA fan first, we want to see player movement as much as we can, especially if it's coming from a prominent team like the Cavaliers, because they're trying to get over that hump, which means if they're making a move, it's going to be a big, significant move. But the thing about something like this that I have to ask myself as a fan and as a media member is, who do NBA players surround themselves with? No disrespect to Darius Garland. I think Darius Garland is a really good point guard in our league. I think he's a really good player. Forget what I even think. I think he's proved that. I know he's proved that. But what situation does Darius Garland run his own team and is not a complimentary player? And that's almost like, it makes me wonder and question, are NBA players still NBA fans? Because some of the players that I know and that I speak to, they're fans of the game still, so it allows them to have some type of idea of what's going on around the league. But it makes me question, and I think Darius Garland is represented by Clutch Sports, and they do a really good job of being aware and having awareness, and that's why a lot of guys go there and get to where they need to go to, because they have a certain perception of what's realistic and where they can go in good situations. But when I look at the NBA, there are not too many teams that Darius Garland can go to and run it as his own. And even the teams that would have an opening, I don't think they want to build their team with Darius Garland being the featured guy and people on the team to complement him. So it's weird to me when we get reports like this, as much as it excites me, because, again, I love trade rumors. I love the potential of somebody of the stature of Darius Garland getting traded, because the idea of him on a new team and a new look Cavaliers team to spice up the East would be dope. But it's like, if I'm Darius Garland's brother, cousin, agent, friend, part of the entourage, I'm asking Darius Garland, though you feel like that, you do realize the only places you could go are going to be losing teams. And even that probably will be a short-term thing of you running a team, because those teams are going to be looking to draft a star for you to complement. And if we trade you to somewhere else, like the Timberwolves, who wants a point guard, you're going to be in the same situation. It just won't be Donovan Mitchell. You'll be there to be in the backcourt, complementary to an Anthony Edwards. If you got traded to Dallas, they're going to push and build that team around Cooper Flagg. So you would be complimenting him, right? And even other hypothetical teams that he probably won't go to. But it's a short list of NBA teams that you can have for yourself and run. The Wizards maybe, but then again, they're going to be looking to get an AJ Debonsa, Darren Peterson, and a Boozer to build around in hopes that you would be complimentary to them. There's not too many teams that's saying, hey, we need Darius Garland so we can build around him and have everybody complimentary to him. And I feel like that's a situation that happens a lot where players have these things that they want. And this is all hypothetical because we haven't heard this directly from Darius Garland. But if this is true, it's one of those things that I continue to think about where it's like players I get can have some type of naiveness. That's what makes them great at times because the NBA is a small fraternity that a lot of people won't be able to make. So to even think that you can make it is a certain type of delusion, so to speak, that is needed to have that level of success. But at some point, it's valuable for NBA players to still be fans of the game, to know what's their best or next move. Bill Simmons threw out a trade for Garland that I saw around the internet where he said Garland goes to the Wizards and the Cavs get Middleton and picks. And that's, again, a situation where I'm like, why would the Cavaliers want that? That doesn't make too much sense for me. I think it allows them to get somewhat under the apron, but the Cavaliers, Middleton picks, does it? I would need further explanation. The other move that I thought about just from a team perspective is Harden. But do the Cavs even want Harden? But I could see the Clippers wanting to wash their hands with Darius Garland. I mean, I wanted to get in the business of Darius Garland, kind of shuffling their deck a little bit because things haven't been going super good for them. But yeah, the Darius Garland thing was interesting. I was surprised by this. I'm interested to see that this grow legs. And the team that's been mentioned the most with this is Sacramento. But again, what does Sacramento have that the Cleveland Cavaliers will want? Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan. They damn sure don't want Domantas Sabonis when you have a front court with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley already. Just another one of those cases for me where, again, it kind of feels like the players in the NBA are disconnected with the reality of the situation. The point guard position in NBA today is as deep as it's ever been. And when you look around the league, every team has a point guard. And the ones that need one have a star already.